Okay, thanks guys. Welcome to Deep Funding Town Hall #1. Yes, so great to see you all here. It's really lovely. Nice. So I'm gonna share my slides.
Just to give you a little shout out already, you're a really cool host, David. Just have to.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's great to just help lead you guys, a great group of people who I am inspired by as a creator, as an artist. Thank you. And with that, we have some slides which I would love to walk you guys through. So I want to introduce a bit about Deep Funding Town Hall for everyone here. And Deep Funding Town Hall is an initiative led by SingularityNET community in collaboration with the SingularityNET Foundation. And we aim to establish an open space for the Deep Funding and SingularityNET community. It's so great to see you guys here. What we're gonna do today is open up some breakout rooms after handing over the speaker to Deep Funding and SingularityNET to give some updates for you guys. And then we're gonna go split off into our room and we're gonna be moving into self-organization in this session. So we have three breakout rooms today. So after the introduction, I'll let them introduce what they're doing. And with that, I will hand over to Jan.
All right, thank you, David. Wonderful initiative, and I'm really, truly, honestly proud of our community and what you guys and girls and anything in between are doing right now. You take so much responsibility already, and I have a few examples from that over the past weeks, actually. So with this round 2 of Deep Funding, we also started to hand out more tasks to the community, but sometimes in a quite ad hoc and experimental way, because I'm a big believer in experiments. I think you should sometimes just try and do and learn so that you can improve the next time instead of trying to be perfect the first time, because usually you will fail or it will take too long. First very good example of that is peer reviews that we started with our awarded team members from round 1. And we started up a process where the team members of round 1 will review proposals in Deep Funding and make recommendations on which one they think are high quality. I already mentioned this in the previous 2 town halls, so I won't go too deep into this. Maybe in a later version we can have a breakout room and think this through properly to see how we can improve this process in the next round and see what we have learned here. But thanks to all these team members that volunteer to do that and put their time and effort into it. And now we have the start of a new process where the creators of previous rounds will help the community to filter out projects that they think are best. And it's a recommendation. Nobody has to follow it. It's just a recommendation, but it might help some of you to find the best projects out of there going forward. Another very good example is eligibility reviews. So there is a phase before we go to voting where we determine if all the proposals are aligned with the formal rules. So do they have a good amount? Do they have milestones with budgets? Do they have the infamous 25% rule, etc.? So this has to be checked before we go into voting, because the community needs to understand what they're voting for, so that there are not changes afterwards which they would have liked to know in advance. So we have to do that review, and it's to be honest, it's one of the more awkward parts of my task and the deep funding team, because you don't want to disqualify a good project because of some formal reasons, but it has to be done. So I asked a number of community members at a very late stage, to be honest, if they would be available to help. And what we did, there were about 10 people, and we created 3 groups from 3 or 4 people. And I asked 2 of these groups to do the first assessment completely independent from each other. And then the 3rd group to compare notes and to see where things align and where there are discrepancies, and then zoom into that and see if they could make a decision on that. And then finally, I only went over the ones that were disqualified to see if I could understand the reasoning and if I could agree. So that was my only job there, basically. And yeah, this was organized actually within days. And a couple of days later, we had everything going and we had the result. And I think this is the beginning of yet another community-driven process. And another breakout room sometime on governance, where we can discuss this in more detail and see how we can improve, because it can still be improved. I have some ideas, but I'd like to discuss that with you on a later moment. The 3rd example of increased community involvement you see here before you right now, and those are the town halls. Something that I have to do very little about, because it's completely organized and managed, and also the aftercare, cutting up the videos, making them nice, etc. It's all done by the community. Right now spearheaded by Swarm, and then handed over to other communities that would like to be involved. So if you want to be involved in that, there's an opportunity for you here. So going onwards, I think that we will have more pools like that will have the opportunity to help us, some on proposals and rules, some on town halls, and of course the teams for peer reviews. And the 3rd one is about news and social media. We are massively revamping our Deep Funding AI website. There will be a lot more content going on, and it will be quite a job to keep all that content up to date, and to also make sure that we use our social channels well, which, to be honest, I'm not always greatest at, but there are other people that are much better in that. So also there's an opportunity for community members to step forward and come to help us. So that is continuing on the town hall and where we are. That is the main message. So very good experience so far. Still, we are in the middle of round 2. Unfortunately, we had to postpone the voting period from last Monday to next Monday. There will be more info on that later on. But that's a small detail, and yeah, thank you all for understanding that delay. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't necessary, and people working on it are working extremely hard also right at this moment to get all that thing in the proper position for next Monday. Last but not least, maybe the results of that eligibility review. So in total, depends a little bit on how you count. We had 84 proposals in Deep Funding round 2, which is about double the size of round one. And of these 84, 27, which is 32%, were unfortunately not qualified, not eligible. They were not aligned with the formal rules. This is not the end of the world if you put a lot of effort in your proposal and for some reason you didn't make it. You're more than welcome next time to give it another try. If you go through with one proposal through the complete process from beginning to end and people have voted on it and you're not elected, then as a rule, we wouldn't want you to submit the same proposal over and over again, unless there is a special reason. Of course, you can always change it. But in this case, if you're just disqualified because you don't align to the formal rules, it's perfectly fine to give it another try next time. And that should be in about 3 or 4 months from now, I expect. So my regrets for people who didn't make it, and we hope to see you back next time. And for the other 57 that did make it, good luck next week, and thank you for your proposals, and may the best team win. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Jan. Thank you. I'm going to let us get into the breakout rooms. So I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Yes. So, just before we go into the breakout rooms, I just want to invite you all to stay in touch after this event. So we, so we have SingularityNET. Here's the web address, SingularityNET.io. We have Deep Funding, deepfunding.ai, and our AI marketplace, beta.singularitynet.io. So I'm going to hand it over to the leaders of the breakout rooms to introduce their room. And you're welcome to speak. Curtis.
Thanks, David. Yeah, so we're trying to collect some insight from the community and see what some of their biggest pain points are when it comes to community collaboration strategies. We have a few topics that we want to just go over at a general high level. If you're interested in anything like the community communication platforms, dissemination of information, or some of the pitfalls of larger communities sharing knowledge and onboarding new members, that's going to be part of the topics for today in our breakout room.
Nice, thanks, Curtis. Kenneth Mayfield.
Hello. Well, likewise, we have an initial ideation process to decide or help design how a virtual meeting hall for SingularityNET and Deep Funding would serve the community, and what that would solve in terms of finding projects, connecting with authors, and just gathering for events and for voting. And the other proposal we have in is for avatar-led onboarding. So to simplify the process of finding information about SingularityNET and Deep Funding, delivered through an avatar with naturalistic expressions. And that will contain APIs that people can use for their own purposes, for their own projects as well.
Right. And Felix.
Yeah, I speak about SingularityNet and maybe some ideas about how it could be or should be positioned to Cardano MBO/government. Because I think SingularityNet, with its totally own and independent ecosystem, very focused, will have its very specific needs and visions especially when it's coming on building on Cardano. I think it would be quite interesting to see how could this interests and challenges as well communicated and coordinated amongst the larger Cardano governance processes then.
Cool. I really want to thank the leaders of our breakout rooms for taking the energy to make space for all of us to join in their conversations. And yeah, spontaneously create. So I'm really looking forward to the conversations that you guys are gonna have. I'm gonna leave it to the leaders of the breakout rooms to close whenever they wish. So you're from this point onwards, you are free. And I look forward to catching you sometime soon. Thanks so much, guys.
A quick question: how do we switch to the breakout room, please?
So to go to the breakout rooms, you go to the bottom. Do you see the breakout room?
I do, and a button that says join.
Yes, that is the one.
There you
So
go.
I press that button and then we're in.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
got it. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Cool. So I will see you in your rooms. Have a great time and take care. Bye, guys.